31 continues, and the Lord said, but whereto shall I liken? Whereto then shall I liken? Okay, so I'll continue with these few verses at the beginning of 31. And the Lord said, whereto then shall I liken? But whereto shall I liken? So I'll put that first word from Matthew. But now from both, whereto. The word then is in Luke only. Shall I liken is both. And then Luke says, shall I liken the men of this generation? Matthew, however, says, shall I liken this generation? So I'll add the men of. The men of, and then from both is this generation. Luke then says, and to what are they like? Matthew, it is like to children sitting in the markets. They are like children sitting in the markets. Okay, so from Luke only, the last question, and to what are they like, is added. So back to Luke only, and to what are they like? Now, Luke, they are like to children sitting in the marketplace. Matthew, it is like to children sitting in the markets. It is like to children, or they are like to children? Well, it makes sense from the way they are originally written, because Luke is saying the men, and they are like. Matthew is saying this generation, it is like. Since I want to include the men of this generation, actually, maybe I shouldn't, because the men of this generation is more specific. This generation is everyone. I believe that Jesus is not specifically talking about males. I think he's talking about humans, because the Bible often uses men or man as just talking about human beings. So, well, yeah, that makes sense either way, because if you're saying the men, the humans of this generation, or you just say this generation, they would mean the same thing. But if you're saying the men, specifically the males, as opposed to females, as opposed to children, then you would be much more specific. It would be different. I might just stick with this generation. No, I don't want to do that, because I would be cutting something out. It's not changing anything. I'm not going to change anything just to help the reader. Readers are going to have to figure it out that he's not just talking about males. So I'll leave it, which means then I'd have to choose they are like instead of it is like. They are from Luke. Like to children sitting in the marketplace. Like to children sitting in the is both. Like to children sitting in the, should I say marketplace in Luke, or markets in Matthew? I think I'm going to go with marketplace. And calling one to another, and calling to their fellows. So, and calling is both. One to another, fellows. I really wonder about this. He's obviously speaking a parable against the Pharisees and the lawyers. We've done all this and you have not done that. So it would make sense to say their fellows, because he's talking about the children complaining about everyone else not responding to their efforts. But if I say one to another, it would be as if the children are arguing amongst themselves that they're not dancing. He's trying to explain that the Pharisees and the lawyers are acting like children because they're not getting what they want in response to their religious efforts. Instead of just saying everyone in this generation are like children, all complaining they're not getting what they want for their efforts. So I'm leaning more towards saying they call to their fellows, but I guess it's the same thing, calling one to another, the children talking to each other. But if it's to their fellows, it might be to the other people in the marketplace who are not responding, not necessarily just the children. So if it's the same or if it's not, either way, I think I'm leaning towards their fellows. I'm actually not so sure anymore if that is the correct interpretation. It could be the first way that I imagined, that the religious leaders, the lawyers, the Pharisees are acting according to their game, and that everyone else are refusing to give them what they want. But I actually am leaning more towards a different understanding, which could be that as Jesus is calling the entire generation is like children, saying, "We have piped to you, you have not danced. We have mourned to you, you have not lamented, or you have not wept." That it's not actually an insult to the children who are piping and mourning. The insult is to the other children who are not responding. They're not dancing, they're not lamenting or weeping. They are not participating with those who are putting in the efforts. And that could be representative of Jesus and John the Baptist. John the Baptist would be the one mourning, calling for repentance, and they're not repenting. Jesus is actually spending time with publicans, sinners. He's eating and drinking. He's not acting in an austere way. And yet, even though they didn't agree with John the Baptist, who was austere, they're still not agreeing with Jesus, who's spending time with them, who is participating, who is, he could be the one, say, piping, right? Playing wedding music. He's acting in a more normal manner, and yet they still hate him. So the problem here could be the other children who are just not happy in any way. It doesn't matter what kind of game they're playing. They're inconsistent. They're going to complain. They're going to be fickle, and nothing pleases them. It doesn't matter what, in a way, God's will is. They want their way. So the other children who are not dancing, who are not weeping, could be the Pharisees, the lawyers, who don't care what God's way is. They only want their way to be done. I don't actually know if that changes what I would put in here, right? I ended with their fellows. Matthew has children sitting in the markets and calling to their fellows. Luke, children sitting in the marketplace calling one to another. I'm pretty sure I made the right decision before, their fellows, because that makes it clear. It's the children talking amongst themselves. It's the game that's the issue. The children are playing a game where they're playing happy or sad music, and the other children are just not caring. They're not playing the game. They're not happy. If it was one to another, like in Luke, that could mean that they're playing music to the other adults. But I don't think that actually plays into the parable that he's saying. Jesus is talking about the entire generation like children, not like children in comparison to the adults, but just that microcosm of the game the children are playing. I think their fellows is actually still better. Either interpretation, whether it's Jesus and John the Baptist playing music happily or sadly and everyone else is not responding, or if it's the Pharisees acting in a religious manner and the other people are not giving them what they want. Either way, it's still the children amongst themselves. So their fellows, I think, is more clear. 2 is both, but it's out of order according to Luke. I'll just mention that in the addresses. Now, what they're actually saying. They're saying, "We have piped to you, you have not danced." Luke says, okay, and saying is both. "We have piped to you and you have not danced." Okay, they're both the same. "We have piped to you and you have not danced." Luke, "We have mourned to you and you have not wept." Matthew, "We have mourned to you and you have not lamented." That's a good word. "We have mourned to you and you have not..." I think I'm going to go with lamented instead of wept, because weeping is just tearing. Lamented is like this state of mind where you are sorrowful, and that is more inclusive. That means a whole lot more than just wept. I mean, you can infer that if you're weeping, it means you're sad. But lamented says it. You don't have to infer anything. So I'm going to go with lamented. Now, the next verse. For John came neither eating nor drinking. Luke says, for John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine. Okay, there's more words in Luke, so I'll make sure I include all those extra words. For John is both, the Baptist is only Luke, came neither eating is both. Luke says eating bread nor drinking wine. Matthew just says eating nor drinking. So nor drinking is both, but bread and wine is only Luke. And you say he has a devil. And they say he has a devil. I think having him say and you say would make more sense, because he is speaking to the Pharisees and the lawyers about their hypocrisy. It cuts more to the heart when he says you. This is specifically about you. Both and Luke only, you say he has a devil. He has a devil. And the he is capitalized in Luke, but not in Matthew. That's weird. Oh, I think they messed up. Yeah, they messed up. Verse 33 in Luke 7 is talking about John the Baptist, but they capitalize the H as if they're talking about Jesus. Yeah, they made a mistake. But anyway, from both is the word say, he has a devil. And then it continues in Luke, the Son of Man is come eating and drinking. Matthew says the Son of Man came eating and drinking. Jesus is saying that about how they're judging him in the present, meaning at that moment, their present moment. So saying, you said John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking, and you say he has a devil. The Son of Man, right now, is come eating and drinking, and you call him a gluttonous man. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that, is come instead. Son and man is capitalized in Matthew, but only son is capitalized in Luke. That's weird. The capitalized son of capitalized man. Actually, I don't know if man should be capitalized. Son of Man, that's a title, I guess, but it's also meaning he actually is, at this point in time, to some degree that we can't fully understand, fully human while still being fully God. So the Son of Man, yes, he is man. Not just he's God on earth, but he's also fully human. I'll leave it capitalized because it's like a title. And now Luke only is come eating and drinking. Matthew eating and drinking. Good, that's both. Matthew goes on, and they say, behold, Luke, and you say, behold the glutton. I'm still going to go with you, because he's tearing them apart, not just saying the people in general say. And you say, you is from Luke only. Matthew goes on, behold a man gluttonous and a wine-bibber. Luke says, behold a gluttonous man and a wine-bibber. Gluttonous man or man gluttonous? I think gluttonous man makes more sense. So it'll be in order according to Luke. Behold a gluttonous man. All these words are there, so I'm leaving them all in orange. And a wine-bibber. And a wine-bibber. Wine-bibber is split into two words with attack in Luke, but it's only one word in Matthew. It's weird. And a... should it be two or should it be one? I think I'm going to leave it as one word because it's understood to mean drunkard. That's what a modern translation would probably say, but to say it's wine-bibber as two words, I think it's just cleaner as one word. Wine-bibber. Luke goes on, a friend of publicans and sinners. Matthew, a friend of publicans and sinners. Okay, they're the same. exclamation point, sinners, period in Matthew. Matthew has one last phrase here. Oh no, they're in both. It's just the next verse in Luke. But wisdom is justified of all her children. The wisdom is justified of her children. All is added in Luke, so I'll keep that. But I'll put the exclamation point in Luke. Now, both. But wisdom is justified of. Just the word all is from only Luke. Now both again, her children.